Hello and welcome to Filling the Sink, a podcast from Catalan News. My name is Lea Beliaeva, and today we're talking about music festivals. Last weekend, under sun but also thunder and lightning, Primavera Sound kicked off this year's summer festival season in Catalonia. As always, it was a blast, and Catalan News was, of course, there to take part in the action. For music lovers of almost all genres, this upcoming season will have a lot to offer, from Catalan summer hits, 90s grunge, catchy pop songs, and much, much more. On today's podcast, we will explain everything that went down during Primavera Sound, and I must already warn our listeners that if you didn't go, for sure you will get FOMO. We will also talk to the up-and-coming Catalan artist Mama Dousha and highlight some of the most important festivals in Catalonia this summer. I'm once again joined by Oriol Escudè, our resident experience everything person. Hi, Oriol.
Hey, Lea. That was great. I can say last week I was a food journalist. Today I'm a music journalist. So
I think you're living a really, really great life.
I'm having fun. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, and I feel like Primavera Sound is such a powerhouse festival in Europe that it almost needs no introduction because it's by far the biggest festival in Catalonia, it's the biggest one in Spain, and it's also one of the biggest ones in Europe, with a little over 260 concerts during 5 days. So, Oriol, how was it?
It was great. I really had a lot of fun. I'm a Barcelona native, and I must be one of the only ones that's never been to Primavera Sound. It was literally my first time there. And I thought, it was a lot of young people, drunk people. That was the stereotype I had in my mind. But it was clearly not that. Of course, the atmosphere changed depending on what day you went to. Mm-hmm. So on Thursday, it was more familiar compared to Saturday, for example. But still, it was great. I loved the atmosphere. Everyone was super nice. I really liked that. And there was so many things to do, and it was super fun.
Okay, so a great debut. And what about the people there? Were they mostly Catalans or internationals?
Well, this year was one of the biggest editions. The festival saw over 268,000 attendees.
Wow.
That's 15,000 more than last year. Of these, 130,000 were unique visitors, of which 40,000 were just from Barcelona. Of all the attendees, 59% were international, and they came from 134 different countries.
And there's also a huge amount of journalists and press people there, so that also tells you a little bit about how important of an event it is.
Yeah, it felt a bit like being in a VIP, even though we didn't have more than water and coffee. But there was so many people coming in and out. There's about more than 3,000 journalists, content creators, influencers, and people from everywhere.
Wow.
Photographers. And they came from 76 different countries as well. So the world's looking at Primavera for a weekend.
For sure. And there was also another thing that was really, really special about this edition in terms of gender, right?
It was the first year, indeed, with gender balance. 42% of the artists were men, 42% were women, and the other 15% were mixed projects. And then Sunday's lineup, which was great, probably my favorite day. All the headliners were female, so we can take the 8-9 headliners that there are every day. On Sunday, they were all female artists.
Okay, well, that's great. I mean, I wish that it didn't have to be something that we celebrated, but that's the situation that we're in. I mean, in any case, that's great news. And what concerts were your favorite? Because, I mean, you went to work, but you also had fun, I assume.
Yeah, no, I did, but still was tiring. But I got to see great people. The thing is, there wasn't a single concert which I enjoyed entirely from minute zero to the end, because I always had to go back to the press room to write about it. So the only one I saw completely, I told my boss, don't bother me during this concert, was Pulp.
Pulp, that is also one of my favorite for sure.
I loved it. And then there was a few surprises like Mitski, who I didn't even know, but I really loved it, and I'm listening to her a lot these days.
See, that's one of the things that I really love the most about festivals, that you go and you have a list of concerts that you really want to go to, but then you also discover a lot more new artists that you didn't know before.
Exactly, that was amazing, yeah.
Well, speaking about all these concerts, I'm dying to hear how the festival was for you. So let's have a listen.
I arrived early at Primavera Sound. Maybe too early. It was Thursday at 4 p.m. and I was greeted by a hot, sunny day. The first thing I noticed was how incredibly close the festival was to the sea, literally right by the sea. And the venue is huge. As a first-timer at Primavera, it was a bit overwhelming to navigate such a massive area. It took me about an hour to familiarize myself with the stages and get a mental map of the place. As the sun began to set and the first concerts of the night began, I walked around talking to people and asking them what brought them to Barcelona.
We came from London.
London, yeah.
A week ago.
We've come from Glasgow in Scotland.
From Chicago.
LA.
I met people from all over the world, and for many of them, this was not even their first time at Primavera.
Second for us, and Josh has been here a few times.
This is my 5th time, Sanko for me.
This is my 3rd one now, actually. Number 8.
It's my second.
What is it about Primavera that attracts people from all over the world year after year? As a Barcelona native who had never been at Primavera before, it was a little hard to understand.
So friendly, it's so loose, like so much different music makes it like so good.
It's everything that Glastonbury isn't. It's the best festival in Europe.
And it's a location as well, having a seafront location, beautiful weather, and it's inclusive, diverse. We love it.
The food, the culture, the wine, the weather,
yeah.
The architecture, the Gaudi architecture. It's a fantastic city.
Beautiful city, beautiful.
Yeah, we love it.
I also couldn't understand why I was meeting so many older people. I'd always assumed music festivals were for the younger crowd, but there was a very obvious reason.
We want to see Pulp.
We want to see Pulp.
And we
Big
want
time.
to see
Pulp was the star of the night. But before the Sheffield band took to the stage, we were treated to a long afternoon of fantastic music. Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, A.G. Cook, Deftones, Beth Gibbons, Peggy Goo, Vampire Weekend. It was impossible to keep up and see them all. And finally, as the clock struck midnight, a message appeared on the screens. This is a night you will remember the rest of your lives. And there was Jarvis Cocker descending a staircase in all his glory.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
The concert was truly special, and I will never forget the emotion from the audience. I saw people in tears, childhood friends reunited in Barcelona to reminisce about old times, couples hugging, holding, kissing, and dancing to the soundtrack of nostalgia. Just common people listening to an extraordinary band.
What have we missed out then?
By the second day, the atmosphere had noticeably changed. Not only did I feel a bit more tired, but the excitement in the crowd seemed to have increased. It was Friday, and a larger turnout was expected. There was also a heightened sense of security, probably in response to an incident the night before, when a man was arrested after stealing 34 phones. The crowd had changed a lot too, from veteran rock fans to youthful and energetic crowds. Someone seemed to be behind this. Yep, you guessed it right, Lana Del Rey. As soon as doors opened at 5 p.m, hundreds of fans rushed to the stage to secure a good spot in the front row. The gig was at 9:45, so they had to wait around 5 hours standing in the same place without going to the toilet, eating, drinking, and all of it under the sun. The wait also included seeing concerts of artists they didn't even know, like the Catalan Ferran Palau. This was likely his most crowded concert ever, a boost for the local music scene. So, thanks Lunatics. After a few hours, I headed to the front of the stage for Lana. It took me a while though, but I got right to the front. There, against all odds and risking my health, I met Bobby from Chicago. He was positioned on the left side of the stage, where he swore we'd see Lana Del Rey come on stage.
Literally the biggest Lana fan ever. I've seen her like 10 times, so obviously I think I know she's going to come out this way. Waiting for her to come out, so we're excited.
I also met Josephine, from Belgium but living in Barcelona, whose mother flew in to be with her.
We're being pushed around waiting for her to get on stage. It's a bit
lot of people are very aggressive, but yeah, it's fun.
They were indeed very aggressive. I was working as a journalist, and with my camera and the promise of just one photo, they would let me through. But among themselves, they didn't give each other an inch of space, and even fought for it.
Stop being a bitch. They're not really fighting. They're just fighting for a spot.
The excitement to see Lana and the hours of waiting caused agitation to grow. Some fans had to be taken out by security from the front rows, visibly dizzy and receiving attention from medical services. Security then started handing out water to calm tensions, and fortunately it ended okay for everyone. Nearly half an hour later than scheduled, Lana Del Rey came out. Although she did not come out from the left side of the stage, leaving Bobby, myself and many others disappointed, I was close enough to understand why she captivates audiences like that. Her unique voice, poetic and nostalgic lyrics, and her enigmatic persona made me become a Lanatic too. I started the last day by going to the Energy Control Stand, an initiative that promotes safer drug use. There's no doubt that drugs are present at music festivals like this one, and I thought it was great that there was an initiative as such. Contrary to my expectations, many people of all ages approached the stand to have their drugs tested to have a safer night. People like Mark, who despite knowing about the initiative for a long time, hadn't dared to use it until now.
I just bought this from a new dealer I don't know at all, and I wanted to know how the quality is. They ask you where have you bought it from, whether you have taken it before, and if you have, how you felt after taking it. They also ask you if you plan to mix it with anything else.
After 20 minutes they get the results, explaining what the drug contains and information about other components it may have that you may not be aware of. They offer you advice on how to take it, what quantity to use, and if it's dangerous, advice against using it. Although the star of the night was undoubtedly Caesar, the evening had an uninvited guest, the rain. It started raining during the concert of PJ Harvey, catching many, including myself, off guard. My situation was even more embarrassing since I had written an article just a few hours earlier advising festival goers to bring an umbrella as rain was forecast, and still I forgot to bring one myself. After an hour or so, the skies cleared and Mitski started her show without any issues, but there was thunder and lightning on the horizon, which created a beautiful backdrop for the cathartic and touching songs of the American singer. But the rain soon returned, and only the best prepared fans of Mitski endured until the end. The vast majority sought refuge at the entrance of the venue, which was the only covered area. But as if by fate, when it was time for Caesar to start, the skies cleared. In front of an enthusiastic crowd, Caesar delivered a masterclass in R&B, rounding off an amazing live summer playlist.
Thank you so much, Oriol, for your great reporting. It sounds like so much fun. And when I warned the listeners in the beginning of the episode about their FOMO, I have serious FOMO right now. It sounds incredible.
Thank you. It was really fun. Thanks to everyone who spoke to me.
Yes, for sure. Thanks to everyone. And one thing that I find really fascinating is not only how big of an event it is in terms of music, but also how big of an economic impact the festival has on Barcelona, seeing that a little over half of the attendees are from abroad.
Yeah, this year especially, it had an economic impact, according to organizers, of about 200 million euro.
Wow.
Last year was 180, so huge growth as well. And organizers say this puts Primavera Sound as the second most impactful event in Barcelona after the Mobile World Congress.
Yeah, and for those who live in Barcelona, they know that Mobile World Congress is a huge event, the most important one. So even though there's a really big presence of foreign visitors at Primavera Sound, the number has actually decreased a couple of years, just slightly. And what kind of impact has that had on which artists are invited to play at the festival?
Well, one of the consequences of this is that we see more local artists because the public is more national than it was before, so more Catalan and Spanish artists. Organizers say that these figures prove that the festival does not rely only on foreigners, because 40,000 people from the 130 unique visitors this year were from Barcelona city, which makes the Catalan music scene a bit more visible than it was before.
Yeah, so this just proves that the Catalan music scene is growing.
Yeah, exactly. We had a great example of this a couple of months ago when we saw Tartarelena, a Catalan folk duo, and they made it to NPR's Tiny Desk.
Wow, Tiny Desk is huge and such a cute format as well.
Yeah, and in Catalan, that was great. Then we've seen concerts of the Tiets and Julieta and Figa Flowers in London. So yeah, we could say that we have a few examples as well here in Catalonia. More people is listening to Catalan music. So yeah, I think we could say the Catalan music scene is in a great form now.
Fantastic. And we talked actually to one of the up-and-coming Catalan artists that we hinted to a little bit earlier, Mama Dousha. Who's this artist, Oriol?
So Mama Dousha is an artist from Barcelona. His real name is Bruno. He got really famous last year with Rikiti, a song that put him in the top charts. And now he's released a new EP called Only Hits.
That sounds really promising. What is the style of the music?
Well, he blends electronic music with urban pop and with a special focus on guitars.
Okay, well, let's hear what he said about the Catalan music scene, why he chose to sing in Catalan, and many other things.
Hi everyone, I'm Bruno, aka Mama Dousha, a singer from Catalonia, which now I'm starting to become someone inside the music world from Catalonia. So with the first EP, I was trying to show these different parts I've got inside when for a few days I'm feeling myself low and I'm feeling myself that nothing is going to work and my career it's not gonna success. And then suddenly, for a couple of days, I start to feel the other way around, where I feel with a lot of power and believing a lot in myself. And my first songs, in fact, I tried to write them in English, but so fast when I was 16, I realized that my songs needed to be the way I speak. Or the way I think and I speak in Catalan. And there's a thing when it's not the same for me to listen I love you than t'estimo, which is the Catalan translation, and that's a fact. And I wanted to give the more emotion in my songs, and I needed Catalan for that. Yeah, I was so afraid of becoming one-hit wonder, and not only for the people, for the audience, for the listeners, but for me. Because when we were on the studio, we were trying to recreate a Rikiti formula, and that I think that I think it's a huge mistake. I don't think music sector is precarious. I think in Catalonia we have a very good thing, which is our own sector, and I think that's amazing because we have this cultura of festa major, which means having party in every village of Catalonia, and that gives a ratio of concerts so high. Catalonia maybe is a little bit close talking to the artistic proposal, but we have a sector. You can live of your music here, and that's a fantastic thing.
Thanks to Mama Dousha for speaking with us. I think this latest wave of Catalan artists singing in Catalan is really, really interesting. But in addition to that, I've noticed that there has been this huge 90s and aughts revival at this year's Primavera Sound, like Vampire Weekend, Justice, Pulp, as you mentioned, and one of my favorites, Bikini Kill. But it's not only a Primavera Sound tendency, in fact.
Yeah, no, there are many other concerts like these this summer in Barcelona. We have big names like Rammstein, Bruce Springsteen, Mark Anthony, Patti Smith, Simple Minds.
Yeah, and also Pearl Jam, Bryan Adams. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And some of these names will either be playing concerts on their own, and others will be attending other festivals. So if listeners out there have been thinking, I missed out on Primavera Sound, we now have really, really great news. Primavera was just the first in many festivals here in Catalonia. What other festivals can you recommend, Oriol?
Well, if you like electronic music, there's a clear one, which is Sónar, happening next week in Barcelona and celebrating its 31st edition. And you'll have great fun because it's a really cool festival.
With over 100 shows.
Yeah, a bit like Primavera, but more electronic music focused.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also Vida, which celebrates its 10-year anniversary this year. Who's going to play there?
Oh, you can see Vance Joyce, James Blake. It happens in Vilanova de la Geltrú.
Okay, so just south of Barcelona, very close by.
And the location is exceptional, so you'll love it.
And then there's also Cruïlla, which also takes place where Primavera Sound took place, with artists like Smashing Pumpkins and Avril Lavigne.
And Pet Shop Boys, The Kooks, Kasabian.
That's a great lineup.
Yeah, that's in July.
And then there's a festival called Alma.
Yeah, this one used to happen at Jardins de Pedralbes. And last year they moved to Poble Espanyol in Barcelona as well. And it's one of my favorites. It's really, really nice. You can get to see really nice concerts. This year there's James Blunt, Take That, Hozier, Queens of the Stone Age, and many, many more. And then finally, there are 2 other festivals, which you need to get individual passes for every concert. It's not like a full festival ticket. But you can see people like Passenger, Diana Krall, John Fogerty, Toquinho. Those are Cap Roig and Portaferrada. You have all the details on Catalan News.
Yeah, check out the article on catalannews.com. Now it's time for the Catalan phrase of the week. What is it this week, Oriol?
Qui canta als mals espanta.
Okay, and what does that mean in English?
Well, it means if you sing, you scare away your woes.
Okay.
Or your troubles. There's an English proverb that captures this feeling, which would be sing away your troubles.
Sing away your troubles. Okay, Oriol, let me ask you, did you sing away your troubles at Primavera Sound?
I did, even though I was working, but yeah, I did. And we have loads of opportunities to do that this summer.
Indeed we do. And that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening. Please do subscribe to Filling the Sink wherever you get your podcast if you haven't already. Thanks again to Mama Dousha and everyone else who spoke with us. Thanks to you once again, Oriol.
Thanks, Lea.
And we'll already be back again on Monday for another episode on Filling the Sink on the European election results. So please stay tuned. On behalf of the team here at Catalan News, I'm Lea Beliaeva, wishing you a great weekend. Fins aviat. Adeu.